Geek Out! Pinky's up. Time for another Geek Out Book Club. I'm Sam.
I'm Jake.
This week we're going to be talking about Rockstars by Joe Harris and Megan Hutchison, specifically Rockstars issue 6, which kicks off the second arc for this Image comic series, subtitled "Children of the Beast." And as the name would suggest, it's a deep dive into heavy metal, because if there is any like rock and roll genre or subgenre that really speaks to the Rockstars mission statement, that ethos, it's probably heavy metal. I mean, you just look at like a fucking Iced Earth album cover, or you listen to like an Iron Maiden song, of which this is very Iron Maiden-y, very like Megadeth.
Yeah. Also, anytime you get that kind of that flying V, you think of like Randy Rhoads and Ozzy Osbourne. But yeah, I mean, anything metal. I mean, like I said, metalheads I think are going to really dig this. And like Sam was saying, I mean, heavy metal, just metal in general, is like the best genre of music.
Interesting.
Because what I loved about talking to Joe and Megan, they kind of hinted at this when we talked to them a while back, about the metal stuff, and that idea of metal is one of those genres, and I guess anyone could throw this on to any genre, but me personally, like, metal is one of those few genres where you can hit it as hard as you want and it'll take it. Like, you can let out any of that aggression, and that's and just the speed, the rhythm.
What is heavy metal to you? Speed and rhythm?
Well,
anger.
The if anyone was ever like, what is in a couple second blurb or like clip, what is heavy metal? The one thing I would always point to is the explosion of in Raining Blood, off the album Rain in Blood, which is just the straight alternate picking of the E and Dave Lombardo on the double bass. And just that gallop. That gallop is my favorite thing. I mean, I love high-pitched squeals.
You're big in the power and thrash.
Well, big into thrash. Definitely big in the thrash. Like, thrash is my favorite. There's a gazillion types of metal.
Yeah, everything defuses: metal, rock, punk.
Yeah, but for me, like, thrash. But at the same time, as much as I love thrash I can also get very tired of very quickly. So I also love like I think it's changed over the years, but I think one of the most fascinating, interesting bands that I never get tired of listening to because of their evolution and their technical prowess is Death. I think they're probably, like, as of me recording this right now, like, I think probably the greatest metal band is Death, because their evolution is astounding, and what they did for metal in general, and not just making it about like be negativity and all that kind of. I don't have time for that shit. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And I don't listen to metal to be negative.
Yeah.
I can listen to metal of like, that kind of like tongue in cheek, like, the Satan stuff here and there, but I don't listen to it because I want that kind of like
vibe.
That vibe, you know what I mean? But yeah, and I think this book captures, a lot of that. They talk about the faster and heavier and and that kind of.
Though, having said that, what I find fascinating about this opening issue for the second arc, it's really accessible. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't have to. I mean, it certainly helps.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. It's not like if you don't listen to metal, you won't like this or get it.
Well, even like narrative wise,
yeah. Like,
you don't necessarily have to be completely familiar with the events of the first story.
Oh yeah,
arc.
yeah, that's true too. Yeah,
completely different bands. Shiloh this time around, it was what, like the Led Zeppelin, Aerosmith-esque Blue Rider last time.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that first trades out in comic book stores everywhere. Mm-hmm. The Nativity and Blacklight was that story arc. But yeah, you're looking at this new band called Shiloh. The color scheme in this, Kelly brings a really kind of almost brighter color scheme. Having said that, it's the prologue. I'm sure things are going to get really dark.
Yeah, it's
really
metal.
fast.
I mean, it's going there.
Yeah. But yeah, no, this is a good jumping on point if you hadn't checked out the first story arc. Basically all you got to know is Jackie and Dorothy are like rock and roll detectives, and there's another murder linked to another band, in this case like a very heavy metal. And it's very clear that Joe and Megan are having such a good fucking time with this book. This genre is a genre they particularly love. Joe writes his back column about like how, like, Iron Maiden specifically. What's your favorite Iron Maiden album. But yeah, how Iron Maiden specifically shaped this arc. But yeah,
I mean, Number of the Beast is huge. I mean, that's kind of like
not Peace of Mind or Power Slave.
Yeah, I mean, I like those too, but I also really like Killers.
Murders in the Rue Morgue.
And that song's great. But I mean, Number of the Beast is like the one where I kind of like first heard about, and of course, Hallowed Be Thy Name being like this metal anthem.
Yeah.
Of course, it has Run to the Hills as well. But like Invaders, which like never gets enough love. I think it's such a great
to the point where they don't like the song.
Yeah, they seem like they didn't like it from what I've read. They're like, it's not the best opening track, and I think it's such a great intro for Bruce Dickinson to be introduced in the band because it's his first album. But the cover is great too, and I've always liked about that too is the Satan imagery, and it's like really dark and crazy. But then you look on the back, and it's Eddie versus Satan, and he has Satan's fucking head. And he's just like fuck you.
Yeah,
because Eddie over anything else.
And speaking of Eddie, you kind of get like Shiloh has their own similar like album oriented mascot,
and the font's very Iron Maiden. And
Yeah. So if you're, even if you aren't the biggest heavy, I'll admit I'm probably the least metalhead of the Geek Out trio. I mean, I fucking met these guys wearing a Red Hot Chili Peppers t-shirt. Talking about Blink-182.
They got some heavy stuff.
Do they?
Not Blink-182. No. Like I'm talking Red Hot Chili Peppers have some cool like little dives into some heavy stuff.
Maybe more like their 80s stuff.
Yeah, like Blood Sugar Sex Magic, like that song in particular has got some heavy grooves in it.
Suck My Kiss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, like, again, you can fucking pull and stretch and do whatever you want with metal. You know?
But my point is, like, you don't have to be the biggest metalhead. You don't necessarily have to be completely 100% familiar with the first story arc. This is a clean jumping on point. It's fun as hell. We love having Joe and Megan on the show. And, when we saw that there was a second story arc coming out, just as kind of like a nice tip of the hat, and just because, one, also we, like, really fucking love the book and want more people to know about it. So here this is. So, again, Rockstars, number 6, kicking off Children of the Beast, is in comic book stores everywhere on Wednesday, August 16th.
Yeah.
So, yeah, rock on. And this has been another Geek Out Book Club. I'm Sam.
I'm Jake.
Keep reading. This has been another Geek Out production. If you enjoyed what you heard, hey, we've got a special episode every Friday. Of course, there's the usual catching up show every Wednesday. And you get book club episodes just about every Tuesday these days. Thanks for listening.